everybody, welcome to our first Awaken Movement community class. This month is July. This is our beginner month, so I wanted to create a few classes just to get a few people up to speed. I've had some requests from friends and family to do more beginner style classes, so this is what July is. Going forward, I would say most of the practices are more intermediate based, but this hopefully will give you a nice good foundation to work from. I'm really excited you're here. I'm thankful you chose to be here to learn and practice yoga and form a little community. So I'm really glad you're here. Each month we're gonna have 4 yoga classes. We're gonna have 1 kettlebell workout or another workout, but probably kettlebell, and then 1 meditation. So that's what you have to look forward this month. But this is our first beginner class. You'll need a yoga mat, and then blocks or books if you don't have blocks. I would recommend investing in some blocks. They're really handy. And then either a bolster or a pillow. Getting a fancy yoga bolster is not necessary. I used pillows up until recently, so that would work just great. So grab that stuff and we'll get started. So we'll begin seated in an easy position on our mats. So cross your legs one in front of the other, whichever is more comfortable for you. Or if that's uncomfortable, you can always sit on a bolster underneath your bottom, or place blocks underneath your knees so they're not splaying out to the side. So you find your comfortable position. Any of those options are great. And then just close your eyes down and place your hands on your knees. So a few things to remember with this yoga practice is that everyone's different. So make this your practice. Your body is not going to do exactly what someone else's body does. So always find your variation and always feel free to pause the video whenever you need. Another important point is going to be that the breath drives the movement. Yoga means uniting of body, mind, and breath. So we let that breath carry us through our poses. And if the breath ever becomes strained or too fast, then you know you've gone too far. So collect your breath back again and then move through your practice. So on our inhales, we like to expand through the chest. We like to reach up through the crown of our head. And then our exhales can be used to crunch in, can be used to twist, any of those types of motions. So let's work through some neck rolls. Bring your right ear down to your right shoulder, and then drop your chin to your chest. Bring your left ear to your left shoulder, and then drop it down the center again. Inhale, ear to shoulder. Exhale, nice release. Inhale, left ear to left shoulder. Exhale, release in the center. A couple more times with your breath. One more over to the right. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, over to the left. Exhale, chin to chest. Good, now just take a moment to roll the shoulders back. You might hear some crunches and some cracks, that's okay. And then roll them forward a few times. Good, we're gonna move into cat-cow, which is going to be carried throughout your whole yoga practice. It can be done in so many different positions. So it's basically just a tilt of your pelvis and either a flexion or extension of your spine. So we can do it seated, we can do it in tabletop, we can do it in down dog, in standing, all these different ways we can do cat-cow. But let's begin here. So hands are still on your knees. Inhale into a cow tilt. So you'll untuck your tailbone, you'll arch through your spine, puff up through your chest. Exhale into cat tilt, so you'll round through your spine, tuck your tailbone under, bring your forehead towards your belly button. Inhale, cow pose. Broaden through your collarbones, big opening. Exhale, cat pose. Round and curl everything in. Inhale, cow. Pulling back on your hands on your knees for a little traction. Exhale, cat pose. Tuck the tailbone, round and curl everything in. 2 more times each direction with your breath. Good. Now feel free to always make that your own. So if it feels better for you to do more of a rib circle movement, let's actually take a few breaths to do that over towards the right. So bring your belly button, your ribs forward to the right, back and to the left. A couple of times going this way. On your inhale, you should be forward, and on your exhale, you should be rounding back. Good, and switch directions over to the left. Your next inhale, we'll all meet in center. Close your eyes down again. And relax your shoulders from your ears on your exhale. Take 2 more breaths. Good. Open them up, and I want you to switch the cross of your legs. So whichever way feels awkward for you. If it's too uncomfortable, stick with your normal way, but we like to even things out. Make sure we're addressing both sides. This is a hip opener, so again, if you need to place a block underneath the knees to let your leg kind of relax into that pose, that's a great option. So now we're going to work into some twist and side bending. So again, your inhale lifts the crown of your head high to the sky. On an exhale, place your left hand on the outside of your right knee and your right hand behind you. You'll twist open to the right. Inhale, lift a little higher. Exhale, twist a little deeper. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, twist to the left, placing the left hand behind you and the right hand on the left knee. Inhale, spine extends. Exhale, draw navel to spine and twist deeper. Inhale through center. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, deepen into that motion. Inhale through center. Exhale, twist to the left. Make it active at first and then place your hand down. Inhale, lift the crown of your head high. And exhale, twist deeper. Let's do 1 more on each side. So inhale through center. Exhale, active twist to the right, and then let your hands kind of finish it off. Inhale, rise the spine. Exhale, open that right shoulder a little more to the side. Inhale back through your middle. Exhale, twist over to the left. Inhale, lift everything a little higher. And exhale, twist everything a little deeper. Good, hands back on your knees, and then we're going to take a few side bends. So on your inhale, crown of the head lifts. Exhale, slide your right fingertips out to the right, left arm overhead. So your bicep is framing your ear. You're breathing into your left rib space, your left obliques, your left lats, this whole side body. So that's your exhale. Your inhale, you're going to open your chest a little more towards the ceiling. And exhale, sink a little deeper. Inhale back through center. Exhale, slide your left fingertips out to the side, right arm overhead. Inhale, open your chest a little more towards the sky. Exhale, side bend a little more. So we're moving up and over, not just collapsing over. Inhale through center. Exhale, right hand out to the side, left arm overhead. Inhale, peel your left shoulder open. Exhale, ground your left sit bone down and stretch your left fingertips further. Inhale through center. Exhale, slide your left fingertips out, right bicep frames the ear. Inhale, peel your right shoulder open. Exhale, sink your right hip bone down as you stretch your right fingertips further. One more time on each side with your breath. So inhale through middle. Exhale, go for it. Over to the right. Your next inhale through center. Your next exhale over to the left. Good. Inhale, everyone meets in your easy seated position and then turn to face the front of your mat if you aren't already there. Extend your right leg long. Bring the sole of the left foot to the inner seam of the right thigh. So we're going to move into a nice forward flexion stretch, a nice hamstring stretch. Again, great option to put the block underneath the left knee. So our inhale is going to straighten our spine, lift our chest high. And our exhale is going to actively compress us forwards. So we could just collapse here and do a stretch, but let's try to engage the right thigh to our belly to our thigh. And just walk your fingertips out as far as your body allows. So inhale, stretch everything high. Exhale, active stretch, pull everything a little deeper. Of course, some flexion is going to come at your spine too. Any type of forward flexion, we expect maybe 2/3 from the hips, 1/3 from the back. Your whole body is moving in them, but we don't want to just totally round and collapse into it. So make sure we're hinging at the hips as well. Inhale, nice flat straight spine. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Inhale, extend again. Exhale, find your stretch. One more here. And then on your next exhale, we're gonna lean into that stretch a little more. So really nice to have a bolster here to lay on. You can also place a block under the bolster to lift it higher, like this. And just give it a nice hug. Send breath into the low back space. Let your body sink a little heavier. One more breath. Exhale, release. Inhale, remove whatever props you were using, and we'll switch legs. So Shavasana on the other side. Extend your left leg long. Bring the right foot to the inner seam of the left thigh. If you need more space in your hips, you can also sit on your bolster if this feels like a lot for you. So again, inhale, nice straight spine. Lift your chest forward and up. Exhale, walk your fingertips out. Hinge at the hips. Stretch forward. Inhale. Lift everything up. Exhale, flex it forward. You might find that one side's a little more open than the other. That's pretty normal. Inhale, open up through your chest. Exhale, compress belly to thigh, thigh to belly. One more here. And on your next exhale, find your variation of your forward fold using your props or not, or staying in this nice high active variation as well. You find what works for you. We'll spend about 5 breaths. Next inhale lifts you up. Bring your left leg behind you, and we'll move towards a tabletop pose. So what that means is you're stacking your shoulders over your wrists and stacking your hips over your knees. So this is our all fours, tabletop, quadruped, whatever you want to call it. And we'll move into some nice wrist stretches here. So a lot of yoga is weight bearing on our hands and wrists, so it's important to keep them healthy and warm them up. So what you'll do is lean your weight over your fingertips and forward, and then bring it back again. So shift your hips, your shoulders forward over those fingertips, and back again. One more time. Good. Now face the wrists together, the fingertips out to the side, and we'll lean the weight over to the left, and then over to the right. Back and forth a few times each side. Good. Now fingertips face your knees, wrists face forward. And then you're going to sit your hips back to your heels. The wrist can lift slightly off the mat. This is really stretching into the forearm muscles here. So just take a few rocks back and forth. Now flip the back of your palms, back your hands to the mat. And I like to do side to side here. So fingertips are facing each other and you're rocking side to side. So those are just a few ideas to warm up your wrists before you practice. Otherwise, let's move into cat-cow here. So our cow pose, we'll untuck our tailbone, so lift it up to the sky, put a sway and an arch in your low back, lift through your chest, and then bring your nose up to the sky. On our cat pose, you'll tuck your tailbone under, round through your spine, bring your nose towards your belly button. And really let those shoulder blades separate as well. So you're pressing strong into the mat. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale, cow. Tailbone, nose to sky, arch through your back. Exhale, cat, round through the spine. Tuck your nose towards your pubic bone. Couple more times with your breath. Inhale always expands you. Exhale always compresses, contracts, bring things in. Good, let's take a slightly different variation. So on our inhale, we'll take cow pose. On our exhale, we'll take cat pose and sit our hips back towards our heels. So kind of this active child's pose variation. Inhale, cow pose, shift it forward. Exhale, round the spine, sit the hips back towards the heels. Inhale, expand through your chest, move it forwards. Exhale, sit everything back around through your spine. And then let's switch the direction. So our inhale, we're gonna round forwards. Exhale, untuck your tailbone, sit your hips back towards your heels, lift your chest forwards, but your hips bring you back. So inhale through cow spine, shift your shoulders over your wrists. Exhale, cow spine, sit the hips back towards the heels. So your chest and your sit bones are reaching in opposite directions. Inhale, cat, round through your spine, shift forward. Exhale, cow, sit everything back. And then stay in this pose here with your arms stretched out in front of you. Your hips are resting on your heels. If you need more space, place a block or a bolster underneath here, or a folded up blanket would also be a good option if the bolster seems like a little too much space for you. Good, so from here we're just gonna make some nice rib circles. So again, you can either think about your belly button being the main point we're focusing on, or one side of your ribs, whatever gives you that mental picture that you're able to move your body. So let's move forwards, to the right, back, and to the left. So just creating a yummy little circular motion. You might feel yourself breathing into spaces or moving into spaces that you haven't in a long time. And that's an awesome thing. So just take your time here. Good, and then we'll switch directions. So move those rib points over to the left, back, to the right, and forwards. By sitting our hips back towards our heels, we're kind of isolating it more at the thoracic spine as opposed to moving through the pelvis and the lumbar spine as well. Just a different way to do it. Good, one more in this direction. And then lay down onto your belly. So walk your hands forwards, walk your knees back, lay everything down. Prop up onto your elbows, your forearms are parallel, and then your fingertips are facing forwards. This is Sphinx pose. It's a nice gentle heart opener or back bend. So think about rolling your inner thighs up to the sky. Think about pulling your elbows back and your shoulder blades down your back. So you can create this type of traction where your elbows, your hands are pulling back, and your chest is reaching forwards. This feels really good in your mid-spine here, as opposed to just isolating the low back. So let's spend a few breaths in our Sphinx pose. Feel free to take neck rolls here as well. Keep a slight engagement of your thighs and your glutes, but don't overly clench them. Good, one more big inhale, lift the chest a little more. And then exhale, bring your arms down by your side, lower onto your forehead. So I want the hands just right at your rib space or right at the boob line. And we're gonna move into some active cobra. So reaffirm the tops of your feet down into the mat. Press them down and tighten your quads so that your kneecaps lift. And then from here, you're gonna pull your fingertips back as you lift your chest up. So we're really engaging into our low back, mid back, and upper back muscles. So you should be able to lift your hands up off the mat and stay in the same spot. Exhale, release down. Inhale, lift into your low cobra again. So press the feet down, roll the inner thighs up, and lift your chest forwards. Stay here for a few breaths. Bring your shoulder blades down your back. Reach the crown of your head forward. Lift your hands up. And then exhale, release. So it's a really good idea to actively engage through your back muscles before you move into any back bend. So we'll do one more Cobra Lift. Press to the tops of your feet, lift your kneecaps up. Inhale, pull your hands back and your chest forwards. Stay for a couple breaths. Lift your hands off the mat if you can. And exhale, release. Good job. Just take a moment to rest here. And then we're going to introduce some really common poses that you'll see, but we'll take a block variation on this first class. So if you have your 2 blocks, bring those to the front of your mat. Again, if you don't have blocks, books can work as well. So you're going to place the blocks underneath your hands. I like to do it on this lowest setting, but find what works for you. We're going to move into downward facing dog. So you'll tuck your toes under, and then you'll press your hips high to the sky. So the blocks are there to kind of alleviate some pressure on your wrists and also let you open up into your lats here, into your armpit area. So take as much bend in your knees as you need. This is downward facing dog just as much as that is downward facing dog. So with the bent knee, think about tilting your sit bones up to the sky and keeping a nice straight spine. So that's the focus in this pose, is the straight spine, as opposed to having straight legs, but a rounded spine. Just take a few breaths here. Think about wrapping your outer armpits down and hugging your biceps in towards each other. Your inhales stretch the crown of your head and sit bones in opposite directions. And your exhales, draw your navel into your spine and firm all your muscles. Also feels really good to what we call walk our dog. So what that means is you'll straighten one leg and drop that heel to the mat, and then straighten the other leg and drop that heel to the mat as you bend the opposite leg. Kind of a pedaling motion. Good, take 2 more breaths here. And then we'll shift forward into a plank pose. So your shoulders stack over your wrists. You're on the balls of your feet. Your core is hugging in tight. And you're pressing through your palms so your shoulder blades are separating. So we're not sagging down like this, we're nice and strong. It's a really good idea to occasionally practice with just recording yourself so you can see what your body line, what your poses look like. I always recommend that. Because you might be here on your plank, or you might be here on your plank and you just don't know it. So visual feedback is a great tool. Good, and then we're going to move into an upward facing dog. So stay on the balls of your feet for this variation actually, and we'll drop the hip points, drop the pelvis towards the mat. Again, press through your palms, roll your shoulder blades down your back, and reach your chest forwards. This is a big stretch through the back, but also through the front of your hip flexors. From here, we can untuck our toes. So the tops of the feet are pressing into the mat. If this is a lot, which this is a pretty strong back bend, take more of those Cobra lifts. Let's take 2 more breaths here. If you feel any pinching, just like a creasing at your low back, think about hugging your inner thighs together, and then also trying to create the stretch in the mid-back area. So we want to engage part of the lower body to keep that low back safe. And then think about reaching up through your chest more. Good. Nice work. And then drop onto your knees, tuck your toes, and walk the feet up to the blocks, to the top of your mat. So coming into this nice forward fold with the blocks. So again, bend into your knees to start. Drop your head heavy to the mat. Hands can rest on the blocks or on the mat, wherever you are. So this is our Uttanasana, our forward fold. You'll see this one a lot in a Vinyasa practice. And we can stay here and relax for a few breaths, but what you'll often see is moving with our breath in a nice flexion and extension Vinyasa. So on your inhale, you'll either place your fingertips on the mat, on your shins, or on your blocks. You can bring them up higher. So here we're thinking about that nice flat straight spine. So again, sit bones, crown of the head are reaching in opposite directions. Keep as much bend in the knees as you need. And then on our exhale, we forward fold. You might straighten into your legs a little bit more. So inhale, pull your hands back on the blocks. Reach your head forward, lift through your chest. Exhale, forward fold. Let's do a bunch of these because they feel good. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, straighten into your legs a little bit more. Drop heavy. Inhale, flat spine. Exhale, round it, drop it, release. Inhale, halfway lift, straight spine. Pull the hands back, pull the crown of the head forward. Exhale, try to straighten into your knees a little bit more, stretching through your hamstrings. If the blocks aren't necessary, you can put your hands on the mat or on your fingertip or on your shins. Exhale, fold, and we'll take one more. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Good. Walk just one block in towards the center of your mat, whatever setting you prefer. On our inhale, we're going to place our left hand there and sweep our right arm open as our left knee bends and our right knee straightens. So nice twist here. And exhale back to center. Fold. Inhale, bend into your right knee. Place your right hand on the block. Lift your left hand high. Twist open to the left. And exhale, fold. Inhale, open up to the right, bend through the left leg. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend the right knee, right hand on the block, twist open to the left. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, place your left hand on the block, bend your left knee, sweep your right arm open to the sky. Exhale, straighten both legs, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, bend your right knee, right hand on the block, sweep the left arm open. And exhale, straighten it all, forward fold. Let's do one more on each side with your own breath. Good. Now from your forward fold, move your block out of the way. Ground through your toe knuckles and your heels. Engage your glutes and your core as you stack your spine on top of itself and come into a standing position. This is our mountain pose, our Tadasana. So this is our mountain pose, our Tadasana. Take a shoulder roll here just to get your posture. Shake out, take any wiggles you need. And then I'm going to step back so I don't ruin my plant. But we're going to inhale and sweep our arms overhead. This is upward salute. So you're thinking about lifting through the rib space. And then exhale, forward fold. This is our half Sun Salutation A. Inhale, halfway lift. Fingertips to shins, bend your knees, straighten your spine. Exhale, fold. Ground through your feet. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, hands at heart center. You'll see that a lot. In many practices, we'll do Sun Salutation A and B. This is half of a Sun Salutation A. So let's do that another time here. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Upward salute. Exhale, swan dive forward, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, straight spine. Hands can go wherever is comfortable. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead, stand up strong through your feet. And then exhale, hands come through a prayer position at the center of your heart or extend down by your sides. Do one more with your breath so you get used to that inhaling and exhaling leading your motions. So I'll let you do one more on your own. Whenever you're ready, meet back at the top-ish of your mat. And we'll move through another little Vinyasa here. So Vinyasa is just that flowing breath with movement that we've been working on. So move into our legs a little bit more. On your inhale, you'll step your right leg back into a low lunge. So drop the right knee down. Have your blocks by your sides. These are going to come in handy. And your left knee is stacking over your left ankle. So if you have knee problems, let it be at this angle or whatever you can tolerate. A lot of people don't say let your knee go over your toes, but if you have healthy joints, there's not really that much wrong with that, I would say. But we'll go with the norm, which is stacking the knee over the ankle. You can tuck or untuck your back foot. And then use these blocks however much you need. They just give you space. So if you're not using them, but you're like this and totally uncomfortable, that's not as good of a stretch as if you lift yourself up, lift through your chest, and drop your right hip down. So you're stretching through the front of your right hip flexor. There's no shame in using props, they're really helpful. So this is our low lunge. So we'll spend a few breaths in each pose on this first round, and then we'll make it into more of a movement meditation. So this will be your inhale in future rounds. And then your exhale is going to be half splits. So you'll shift your hips back over your right knee, bend into your right knee, straighten into your left knee. This is half splits. So you're digging your left heel into the mat, kind of pulling it back towards you to actively engage through your left hamstring. It's also nice to inhale into your flat spine here, and exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. So that just gives you a little idea of what you can do here. This will be our exhale. And then our inhale, we're gonna bend back into our left knee, tuck our back right toes, press through ball of foot and heel, rise up into a high lunge. So slide your right hip bone forward so it faces the front of your mat, arms overhead. It's really engaging through our legs here. Again, feeling a lift of the rib space. At the same time, draw your navel into your spine. Press the back of your right knee back, the right heel back. You can walk your stance in a little bit if you need. So this will be our inhale, and then exhale, pyramid pose. Straighten your left leg, flex forward. And for this first round, we will drop onto the heel of our right foot. Your right toes are at a 45-degree angle. This is traditional pyramid. In the future rounds, we'll keep the ball of the foot or the heel lifted. So again, blocks at your side. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Your hips are square. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Keep a micro bend in the left knee so you're not hyperextending and damaging the back of your knee. Okay, one more breath here. And exhale, fold. And on your exhale, you'll step into your forward fold at the top of your mat. So step that right foot forward. Now, stand back up however way you want, and we'll move through the other side. So left foot steps back for your low lunge, drop onto your left knee, tuck or untuck the back toes, blocks at your side to make space. So we're lifting through our chest, dropping our left hip towards the mat. Don't overextend through your low back. You can keep a slight tuck of your tailbone forward. This will actually increase the stretch on the front of the left hip. Feel free to walk your stance out a little longer if you feel like your knee was uncomfortably flexing over your toes. This will be our inhale. Exhale, half split, straighten your right knee, shift your hips back. Inhale, halfway lift through the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, straight spine. Exhale, fold. So this will be our exhale in future rounds. Then our inhale, you'll bend back into your right knee, tuck your left toes, press strong through your feet, and rise up to high lunge. So your knee is no longer hovering, or it is hovering, it's no longer planted on the mat. Arms reach overhead. Make sure you're rolling that left hip point forward and pressing through the back of your left knee. Spend a couple breaths here. Good, and then our exhale is going to be pyramid. So straighten mostly into the right leg. Keep that little tiny bend. And then swivel down onto your left heel. Left foot is at an angle. This is pyramid. Hips are square. Inhale, halfway lift through the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, and step the left foot forward to the top of your mat. Inhale, reach your arms overhead, stand up tall. Exhale, hands at heart center. So let's try to do that one breath per movement. So inhale, low lunge, step the right foot back. Exhale, half split, straighten into your left knee. Again, bring the blocks with you if you need. Inhale, bend into your left knee, rise up into high lunge. And exhale, straighten into your left leg. Stay on the ball of your right foot, pyramid pose. Inhale, halfway lift in pyramid. Exhale, forward fold, step the right foot to the top of the mat. Inhale, stand up, tall, arms overhead. Exhale, hands at heart center. We'll move to the other side. Inhale, left foot steps back, lower back knee down, low lunge. Exhale, half split, straighten into your right leg. Inhale, bend into your right leg, lift up for high lunge. Exhale, straighten into your right knee, pyramid pose. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, step the left foot forward, top of your mat. Uttanasana. Root through your heels, inhale, rise. Exhale, hands at heart center. And we'll keep going. Inhale, low lunge, right foot steps back, drop onto your back knee. Exhale, half splits. Inhale, high lunge, bend into your left knee. Ball of the right foot is strong. Exhale, pyramid pose, straighten into your left knee, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Uttanasana, top of your mat, step the right foot forward. Root through your feet, inhale, rise, arms overhead. Exhale, hands at heart center. Inhale, low lunge, step the left foot back, drop onto your back knee. Exhale, half splits, shift the weight back. Inhale, high lunge, bend into your right knee, strong, arms overhead. And exhale, pyramid pose. Straighten right leg, fold down. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold at the top of your mat. Good. Root through your feet, inhale, rise all the way up. And exhale, hands at heart center. So that was a nice little vinyasa flow. We're gonna do one full Sun Salutation A, just so you know what that is for future classes. So we've actually already done pretty much all of it, just in little pieces. So inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Upward salute, exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, fingertips to shins or block. Now exhale, plant your hands and step back to a plank. We'll take an extra breath here. And then exhale, lower down onto your belly. Inhale, you can untuck your toes, come into either a cobra or your upward facing dog. And exhale, flip over the toes, lift the hips high, downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward, step to the top of your mat, halfway lift, straight spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, arms overhead. And exhale, hands at heart center. Good job. You know what, let's do one more, because that's such a very important part of your practice. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank, lower down onto your belly. Elbows hug in at your sides. Inhale, we'll lift to cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, flip over your toes, send the hips high, downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward, step forward to the top of your mat, halfway lift through your spine. And exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, or overhead, arms overhead, upward salute. And exhale, hands at heart center. There you go. Practice that as much as you want and can. So we're going to start to cool down and move into one of my favorite poses, which is Malasana or yogi squat. So since this is maybe your first practice or you're just getting started, let's bring a block underneath the sit bones. So your toes will point out, your heels will point in, and you'll lower down into a squat. If this is where you're hanging out, go for it. This is great. You'll get a little more tired because it's a lot more active, but over time, as you move into it, you'll be able to squat a little bit lower and a little bit lower. You know, use as much props underneath your hips here. This is a really nice spot for you to be, stacking 2 blocks. Think about pulling the knees out to the side, lifting your chest. And then if you do have more space, you can remove any props and push your elbows into your knees into your elbows. I like to shift weight from side to side here in Malasana. Just opening up into your hips. Take whatever movement or stillness serves you right now. One more breath, lift the crown of your head high. And exhale, sit down onto your sit bones. Sit onto the mat. Bring the soles of your feet together and butterfly your knees out to the side. This is called Baddha Konasana. It's a classic butterfly pose if you did any sport growing up. So as we're cooling down, bring it into a nice passive stretch. So again, if you have even trouble sitting onto the mat, please sit on a bolster. Place that underneath your hips just to give you a little more room. On our inhale, we'll pull our hands into our ankles, reach our chest forward. And then on exhale, we'll do that kind of compression, pulling belly to thigh, thigh to belly. Inhale, halfway lift through the spine. And exhale, pull a little deeper. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. So take whatever fold feels good. If you're really open through your hips and low back, you can maybe place your forehead on the inside of your feet. Otherwise, that's what these guys are for. Blocks and bolsters and pillows. So I like to prop a block up at the highest setting and then place my bolster kind of diagonally on top of it and rest my forehead down. And we'll hang out here for several breaths. I feel like this is a pose where we especially need to not get frustrated with ourselves because so much of it actually depends on our hip anatomy. So some people, when they sit like this, it's totally natural for their knees to just totally flop on the ground. Just by the way their femur and their acetabulum is shaped, that's just how they are, how open they are. And other people, it's natural for them to lift a little bit higher. So don't get frustrated at yourself if your knees do not touch the mat. It's not a competition. Everyone's different. Just stretch into what feels good and natural for you. So let's take 3 more breaths. Really relax your low back space. Final inhale. And final exhale. Gently, slowly lift up. Place your props to the side. We'll need them in just a second. We'll move into deer pose. This is a really nice restorative or warm-up hip opening stretch. So what you'll do is tuck your right heel in towards your groin, flexing a lot at the knee, and then bring your left knee behind you. So your left heel is curling in towards your left glute. Okay, this is deer pose. So if you've ever done any type of like mobility fitness stuff, you've probably heard of your 90-90 position. And this is just everything pulling a little closer in towards your body, more flexion at the knee joint. So again, we're gonna take a nice forward fold here. I like to place my bolster and block. We'll inhale, nice straight spine, and then on the exhale, we're gonna fold over the right knee. Also feels really good without props, so just take whatever your body needs right now. Three more breaths. On your next inhale, press through your hands, slowly rise up, and we'll switch sides. So your left knee is going to be in front with your heel curling in towards your groin. Your right knee is going to be behind with your heel curling in towards your glute. Inhale, halfway lift. Take any wiggles that you need. And exhale, you're going to fold over your left knee using a prop or not. Feel it out, see what happens. About 5 breaths here. Final inhale. Final exhale. Your next breath slowly lifts you up. And then swing your legs in front of you. Lay down onto your back. We'll move into one bridge. One active and one passive. And that'll be it before Shavasana. So roll down onto your back. Place the soles of your feet on the mat. Kneecaps are pointing towards the sky. If you're able, if you have long enough arms, your fingertips might reach the back of your heels. Depends on the length of your torso and arms. So for bridge, we're gonna push our heels, our feet knuckles, I know what they're called, like scientifically, but whatever you wanna call them, the pads of your feet into the mat. You're gonna lift your tailbone, your sacrum, low back, mid back, and moving towards the upper back, you're gonna lift it all off the mat. So hug your inner thighs together, engage through your glutes. Puff your chest up towards your chin. If that feels okay, you can start to wiggle your shoulders underneath your body and interlace your fingers underneath your hips. A nice active bridge pose, Konasana. Push through your heels to lift your thighs and your hip bones a little higher. And spend 2 more breaths here. Good, now start to slowly lower your spine, your mid-back, your low back, your sacrum and tailbone to the mat. Take a little windshield wiper of your knees, so just rocking them side to side. And then find your bolster or block. Bridge up again, push through your feet. And slide your prop underneath your pelvis. I like to walk my feet out a little wider and let my knees knock in towards the middle. So we're totally relaxing now. This is a passive bridge. Just releasing any muscular engagement. refocus on your breath. Revisit those inhales and exhales that carry us through this practice. Let the air move in through your belly, through your rib space, and through your upper chest. And then on your exhale, let everything compress in towards your spine. Inhale, expand out. Exhale, ribs hug in, navel to spine. Inhale, balloon out in all directions. Belly rises, ribs out to the side, chest upwards. Exhale, compress everything in. Feel free to take your Shavasana here, or remove your block or bolster. Release your legs out to the outer corners of your mat and come into a traditional corpse pose, Shavasana. Palms are facing the sky. Exhale and drop everything heavy into the mat. Take 3 more breaths, but don't think about them now. Just let them come naturally. Start to wiggle into your fingers and toes. Plant your right foot, roll onto your left side. Come into this lovely fetal position. Take a nap if you can. Actually never been able to nap. So we'll rest our hands, rise into a seated position. Cross your legs. Hands on your knees. Take one more big inhale. Lift the crown of your head high. Puff up through your chest. And one big releasing exhale. Hands at heart center. We say the light in me honors the light in you. So namaste. Thank you guys for joining for our first practice here for the Awaken Movement community. This was our beginner month, so we have 3 more beginner classes in July. And then, as I said, the majority of these practices are going to be more intermediate based going forward in August. But I'll always be sure to have beginner modifications and try to throw in some more advanced progressions as well. So there really will be something for everyone. I feel like intermediate practices are just like a perfect little sweet spot to work up to. So hopefully these 4 more educational beginner classes will help you get there. I'm so happy you're here. If you enjoyed this, please share it with others. I would love to get our community bigger and growing so we can all chat and learn and practice together. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys next time.